welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Elliot Grigg. We are once again in preview mode for arguably the biggest fight of the year, Elliot. The undisputed light heavyweight showdown between Artur Dmitry Bivol. 20-0 against 23-0, undefeated against undefeated. It's just got all the makings of an absolute classic, and we are finally getting it on Saturday, October the 12th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, at the Kingdom Arena. All the marbles at 175 pounds, as I mentioned, BETERBIEV and Bivol, and we're going to kind of dissect the fight and give our predictions at the end. But kind of a leading question here, mate, and you're fair enough if you give your prediction away here early on, because I want to ask you, is Artur BETERBIEV more or less unbeatable?
Great question, Paul. Thank you very much for that eloquent introduction. And to be honest with you, you're right here. This is a super fight. This is the sort of fight that sort of gets us going in it, really. I mean, you look at this, got all the ingredients. We've waited for this for a very, very long time. And fights like this come around very, very rarely. So I'm buzzing for this one. And I also think, again, it's one of the hardest ones we've actually ever done on this show when it comes to predictions. Probably the closest fight I think we've ever done. I'm really struggling to pick this. So in answer to your first question, is BETERBIEV unbeatable? I don't think he is unbeatable. I really don't. I think, and that's not me wishing to, not give my prediction away, but I feel like, he's obviously getting on a little bit. He's had the injury. Fight was rescheduled. Does that weaken him? Who knows? We don't know. He's not obviously taken a tune-up fight before this one. He's gone straight into it. So, I mean, but, it's a massive ask, isn't it? 20 victories, 20 knockouts, Smith, Yard, Joe Smith, all these guys have been sort of sacrificed at the knuckles of Artur BETERBIEV. So, I don't think he's unbeatable, but I also feel like at this weight, at light heavyweight, Bivol's the only one that's got a chance of beating him, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think anyone else has got a chance, even in the condition he's currently in. So for me, this is the fight. This is the only person that can beat him at this weight. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, very interesting, mate. Very, very interesting. I was kind of asking that leading question because if you had said BETERBIEV was unbeatable, then I would have known that you were backing him to win this fight straight off the bat. But you've still kind of left it up in the air for your prediction at the end of the video. So yeah, fair play, mate. I don't think he's unbeatable either. Again, whether or not we find this out on Saturday night in Riyadh remains to be seen. But it's one of them where I don't think anybody's unbeatable, really, are they? Like you look at some of the greats over the years, and like one that comes to mind, like Floyd Mayweather, obviously retired undefeated. But is that to say that he was unbeatable? Had he have fought certain fighters at different times in their career, at different weights? Had he maybe not, there was one of the times when, we saw him rocked by Shane Mosley. The one, obviously the infamous one where he looked like he was in trouble and then went to touch gloves with Ortiz, was it? And he just stopped him. He was in a bit of trouble there. We saw him hurt against Ricky Hatton, obviously ultimately winning the fight via knockout. I don't think anyone's unbeatable, really, when I kind of think about it. And then you obviously just, there's retiring, say he was to win this fight, BETERBIEV, and retire, or he's approaching 40 or whatever, undefeated. Does that mean that he's unbeatable? There's probably someone that could have beat him, whether or not that's now. It's hard because it's kind of, I suppose it's kind of, the timing is the key here. I don't think anyone's unbeatable, but they might be unbeatable in that segment of their career, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a difficult one to answer, but I'm going to agree with you. I don't think he's unbeatable. I think if you had the right fighter at the right time, you could perhaps beat Artur BETERBIEV. And it may well be Dmitry Bivol, as we mentioned, mate. Which kind of leads me on to my next question. BETERBIEV's 20-0 with 20 stoppages. Anything, it seems to just touch your chin and people go over. He's got dynamite in his fists. Do you believe that Bivol can navigate 12 rounds, 36 minutes, without getting clipped at least, caught, put on the deck?
You know what? That's the intrigue in this one, isn't it? Like, it's the sense of will BETERBIEV stop him? Will Bivol have enough to be elusive? I feel like with Bivol, you look at his record. I don't think he's obviously not fought anyone that can punch as hard as BETERBIEV. He's not fought anyone with hands that hard. He's been obviously elusive, but I think with Bivol, what remains a question mark for Bivol as well is he tends to raise his game as well when he fights with someone. There's a real sort of risk involved. So I expect him to do that again. It's just a question of how far can he raise it against, as you said, BETERBIEV's power. But I don't necessarily think BETERBIEV's even got to chin him. I don't think he's even got to touch him on the chin. We see BETERBIEV essentially just almost like volume punch, but with ridiculous power. So if he doesn't even necessarily catch him, we saw just punching arms, punching wherever, elbows, whatever. He seemed to just seek and destroy in that way. So I don't think he's got to catch Bivol clean necessarily to have him over. Do I think Bivol will go down? I mean, Paul, honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm looking at this fight just going, possibly. I know a lot of people have said BETERBIEV late, sort of 9 to 12. They reckon he'll catch Bivol eventually. I can see a world where that happens. We'll come on to predictions in a minute. Do I see another world where he boxes beautifully and maybe manages to stay away? And does I can see maybe that as well. Does he have enough pop to stop Beterbiev? Not stop him, but stop him sort of coming in with such regularity. These are the questions we need to find out on the night. We'll come to predictions. I'm not going to ruin it, but can he navigate 12 rounds without getting caught? The answer I think is yes, he can. Will he? We'll come to that in predictions in a minute.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, hitting the nail on the head. Can he and will he are two completely different things. Yeah, of course he can, but will he? Oh, I mean that's a completely different argument, as you mentioned. Mate. We may as well get into it. I think we've done enough teasing of the viewers here. We. You know, it's time, let's be honest. They've come here to see our predictions, to tell you what way we're going for this super fight. And I'm not going to be chivalrous. And take the floor and go first here, mate. I'm going to throw it right back at you and
Oh,
ask you what your prediction is for Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, who becomes the undisputed light heavyweight champion on Saturday night.
I really was hoping you were going to be chivalrous there. With this one, it's a real 50-50. I really don't know the answer. I mean, I did the big fight breakdown. I went Bivol points. Sometimes I sit at home and I go, I talk to certain people. I think actually Beterbiev's going to hammer through him. Of course, he will. He'll stop him maybe around sort of 9 and 10. But in my mind's eye, Paul, in my mind's eye, for some reason, I do see Bivol's hand being raised at the end of this. So I'm actually going to go with Bivol again on points. I'm not sitting here claiming that I'm really confident in this prediction. And if Bivol were to get stopped, I would be obviously understanding of that as well. But I've just got a real have to lean that way. I'm going to lean towards Bivol just on points. I think he'll maybe get through it. I think he'll hopefully raise his game to the point where he doesn't get sort of banjoed essentially by Beterbiev. If he does get stopped, I don't think it'll be early either. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got enough to get sort of 8 to 10 somewhere around there as well. So I think, yeah, I'm going to go Bivol holding on, just having enough to sort of steal rounds against Beterbiev and win via points. How about yourself?
Yes or no? Does he get off the deck to win?
No. If he goes on the deck, it's over.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Well, my turn now. And mate, similarly to what we've just discussed there now as well with the old British heavyweight fight on this card, which is a real 50-50 as well. Obviously not at the level of this, but kind of a 50-50. We both agreed. So go do if you're watching this video and haven't checked the other one out, please do check out our Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark preview. But yeah, mate, I'm going the same way as you. I think we're making it 2 for 2. We seem to be in agreement this week on the preview show. Again, we don't discuss these things beforehand, but yeah, mate, I'm going Bivol to win this. I think he's got all of the attributes to navigate the 12 rounds, beat Artur Beterbiev. I also don't think he'll go on the deck. I think he could have hairy moments, maybe get hurt. But we've seen of late that I think Bivol's a bigger puncher than he can let on. It's just that his boxing ability is so good that I think people kind of sometimes label it a bit boring, and he's got gears. We saw that against Canelo. He raises his game when he needs to, and I believe he will do that once again on Saturday night, mate, and will get his hand raised to become the undisputed light heavyweight champion and hand the great Artur Beterbiev his first defeat. Elliot, that's all we've got time for, mate. Thanks very much, as always, for joining me. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Please do like this video, subscribe to the channel, watch all of the rest of it, and drop us a comment on your thoughts. Elliot, all that's left for me to say is, mate, thanks very much, and I'll speak to you again soon.